All right, let's welcome in this week's guest to the JJ Redick podcast with Tommy Alter, Rex Chapman. Rex, great to see you, man.
Man, I'm so happy to be here. I'm such a fan of yours, JJ. You know that. I hope you've been told that over the years. We haven't really ever had a chance to talk very much. I think I spoke to you once at when you were at Duke, right?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So this was my junior year, the fall. I remember the game. It was UT Martin, University of Tennessee Martin. Okay. And you came to practice the day before. And after practice, I was, first of all, to see you, I was nervous. No, I mean that. I was nervous. And after practice, we sat up in the stands for like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I remember, the only thing I remember you saying to me was, we talked for a while, but the thing that stuck was, you said something like, I know you can shoot. My question is, can you get down and guard in the post?
Yeah, right.
And the answer to that question is probably still no.
Right. But I did tell you, and I couldn't either. I just remember I do remember that and saying, look, man, we're undersized. Most of the guys at our position in the league are, 6'7", 6'8", 6'6" anyway. But I do remember saying, all you got to do is learn how to fight. If you'll fight, that's half the battle. And man, you have, and you've come, you go back, I'm sure you look at some of your Duke footage, which unbelievable career. But you were mostly a jump shooter. You weren't in pick and rolls. You do all that stuff now. I love just watching the evolution of your game. You've gotten yourself in such good shape. I'm really proud of you, man.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that.
By the way, right now, you've been in that hotel room there in the bubble now for how long?
I am going on my 24th hour in this room. We were told it's a 36 to 48 hour quarantine. Don't leave the room. So, man, I'm just biding time right now.
How's everyone pretending to stay in shape? Really? Because there's zero chance. So you're doing no cardio for 48 hours.
Basically, so this is a great question. We had a workout yesterday early in the morning. So our flight, every team had to arrive at a certain time. So our flight, out was at around 11:30 in the morning. So we all went in yesterday just because we didn't want to risk going 3 days without doing anything.
Right.
But Rex, here's the crazy part. There's, I think, 7 teams of the 22 that have shut their facility down over the last 10 to 14 days. And some of those facilities have been shut for almost 2 weeks.
Dude, I know. When people started talking a couple months ago about getting it geared back up, I'm just like, man, I don't know. First of all, these guys are not wind-up toys. They haven't been able to run up and down the floor. They haven't been able to do anything. The basketball is going to be so bad. We're in the playoffs and they're in like for real preseason mode. And then on top of that, I still don't understand. I can't wait to watch if you guys actually do, because everything is going to be said and everyone's going to hear everything that's said during the game. And it's going to be, R-rated. And I don't know how they're going to deal with that.
Rex, how concerned are you about injuries for the guys?
Very, very.
That feels like a big, people are not talking about it. They're talking COVID, but they're not talking just basketball injuries.
Yeah. JJ can speak to it probably better than I can right now. I just know there's a difference when you're in a preseason game. One of the first, your first, how many of you guys have now? 6, maybe something like that. Your first 2 exhibition games. Yeah. You're not going to sell out, like it's the playoffs. But when you have to come into this situation, and I know you're going to have a few games, I get it, but still, man, you guys haven't really played in months. And, you will be able to see guys who've stayed in better shape than others. That'll be obvious. I know, and I know your guys have, you got my guy, Aaron Nelson there in New Orleans. He's my buddy, and he and Griff, two of my best buddies from our Phoenix days. But it's going to be interesting. I don't know how. yes, I am. I'm concerned about, well, all the players' health and their families and all that from the coronavirus. But yes, the injuries, you just don't want to see, everybody. And again, I'm anxious to see, the Lakers were rolling, right? You know how this goes. It's hard to pick up. Some teams may just explode right now. Other teams may it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
When I was a young player trying to carve out a spot in Stan Van Gundy's rotation, I would come into training camp just in unbelievable shape. And those first few preseason games, when all the old heads and all the vets and all the stars were working their way into shape, I would try to murder. I would just go out there and try to kill people. And I remember Joe Johnson, who used to give our team fits. This is when he was in Atlanta. I said something to, "Hey, Joe, how you doing, man?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Stop running around, man." He's like, I'm just trying to get a few reps in, get up and down the court. I'm not trying to go hard tonight. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, I would like to get to the point in my career where I have that perspective.
Yeah. I never was able to get that way. I had to grind it, run around and be as light and as hard to guard as I could be. So yeah, I get it. I'm concerned about your guys, your health. I just hope that I hope that the league can pull it off. I really do.
One of the things, Tommy, that we haven't talked about in regards to this sort of notion of stopping and starting is for the guys that have tested positive or will potentially test positive for COVID. There's a 10 to 14 day period where you're quarantining and you're not coming in contact with people. So like a lot of those guys, specifically for the Nets that tested positive, they basically said like, I can't then risk starting back up. And the closer we get to July 30th, that first game, if for instance, if I tested positive tomorrow, I don't know that I'd be able to play in a game on July 30th, having not worked out for 2 weeks.
No way. There's no way you could. That's the other part of this. I've heard, we all are dying for sports. A lot has been said about, LeBron's legacy and, this could be a championship year for him and all that. Okay. You get into the finals and he tests positive. And so now what? It's just, again, it's a virus. We know it doesn't discriminate. And I know you guys are in the best hands there, our league. I'm really proud. I really am. I'm proud of how our league handled it. We were right on the front line of kind of saying, hey, this is dangerous, guys, and it's real. So I'm really proud of the league and the steps that they've taken. I know that they're going to have your guys' best interest at heart. I want you guys to be safe and your families.
I was so impressed when we arrived yesterday.
Really?
And we were the team that arrived in that time slot. And we went to a room and Mark Tatum from the league and some people spoke to us just about protocols and what the next couple of days was going to look like. We went through the testing. It was easy. It was easy. Yeah. It was painless. They gave us a little essentially like an armband that's our everything. And it's our room key. And we just grabbed our bags, walked up to our room, had food delivered probably an hour later. I mean, it almost sounds like rehab. It almost sounds like rehab. We'll talk about the food in a second. Yeah. Rex. Okay. If you want to bring that up later, we can bring that up. But I was so impressed, like the amount of thought and attention to detail that's involved in trying to pull this thing off is really impressive.
I would imagine it is, just knowing how the league does things at this point. You know how it is when you arrive on the road at a, whatever hotel at 2 a.m, everything is laid out, you pick up your room key. So I imagine it's going to be like that because, there's a lot at stake. And when we say that, we're talking about lives here, man, not just injuries.
Did they stagger the arrivals? Like, did you see anyone from another team?
No, that's what was so strange. And I wanted to sort of bring this up, but as Rex just pointed out, normally you land in a city, you get on the bus, you go to the hotel, There's someone from the hotel waiting for you in the lobby, that you get your room keys, you get your snacks, everybody piles in the elevator and you go up. And while you're there, you see other employees and you see other guests, and maybe there's a restaurant open or a bar open. It was eerie when we got here.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's in mass.
There's no
one there.
Yeah.
There's no autographers.
Wow.
There's people telling you where to go, because it is a big property and they're telling you where to go. But it was really strange. And so we didn't see any other teams. And frankly, I don't even know who else, has gotten here or not gotten here yet. But other than a Zoom call earlier today with Tommy and some people, I haven't seen anybody in 24 hours.
I bet it's weird. And it'll be interesting to see, because you guys are, I assume, many teams in the same hotel. I would think that there's a chance that, if you're able to pull it off, you're going to make some really good friendships with guys you wouldn't normally have those friendships with. Right. So, I mean, just because you don't play with them, right. You never spend time in town more than a night. So I think that part of it is pretty cool.
There is an opportunity there. We didn't know this really till we got here yesterday, but we're essentially just going to run into the people that are staying at this hotel
right
until July 22nd. Once the scrimmages start, then we'll be allowed to go to the other hotels for restaurants or to see other guys. Yeah. So we're kind of basically, hopefully we all pass our COVID test later today, and it's going to be in about an hour. And if we do that, we can practice late tomorrow afternoon. But we'll be from the gym to the hotel for the next, 13 days, with no real interaction with anybody else, that's not here. Tommy, you had a question.
Yes. The food is on everybody's mind, because I forget who posted it a couple days ago. The first team that got there, I think it was Troy Daniels, posted the food, just posted a photo of what it was with no caption, no anything, no description. He just posted it, and people were going in on it for 36 hours. So how is it?
I mean, I wouldn't describe the food as great, but you have to understand with the way this protocol works. So they're delivering the food on cafeteria trays right now. Okay. And
I love it. I just love
the menu is, sort of picked by the team nutritionist. So it's a set menu, and it comes in two like paper bags on this cafeteria tray. And they have these big carts, and they're wheeling out the food, one floor at a time, to 50 different rooms.
Wow.
Or whatever it is. And so your food kind of it gets there, and it's not exactly warm, but we have, they put microwaves in our rooms. I mean, the setup is actually good. I actually have because I've talked to some of the Utah Jazz players that don't have outdoor space, but I'm on the ground floor, and I have a little outdoor patio with a couple chairs.
That's
so
great.
I've gone out there today and gotten fresh air.
Yeah.
No complaints though about the food. It's just not good. It's just not good.
You're getting enough food, right?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
But you know what? Of course, this is going to be easier for someone like you, who is not only a pro, you're a professional. So it's going to be easier, I think, for some guys who are going to be regimented all the time in what you do and how you approach it. For some of the younger guys who haven't figured that out yet, this will be a real, and we're taking for granted that these guys are going to follow the rules, right? We hope they are. We hope you guys are.
I think it was Tommy. Was it Damian Lillard that said he doesn't trust his peers?
Is he wrong though? I mean, here's the parallel I would make.
He wasn't saying he didn't trust him on the court.
Rex, I'm curious your thoughts about this, because I mean, I don't blame him for not trusting his peers. Do you trust fellow Americans? We can't trust each other not to go to bars and stuff like this.
No, here's what I can't trust. I can't trust the single guys not sneaking girls in somehow. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
These are young guys. We'll see.
Are there guys? Can you see like security? Like, is there a sense of like these guys have like a thing in like an earpiece or something like that?
See, you're on it. See, JJ, you're on the floor level, man. Again,
I mean, I'm looking out.
You know, these guys are going to do this.
I'm looking out into like 10 rooms. If my blinds aren't closed, I can look in like 10 different rooms right now in a bunch of hallways. Rex, I want to ask you about your NBA career and some stuff with Kentucky and stuff. But let's talk about Twitter for a little bit, because you've carved out this amazing little niche on Twitter. I just looked it up today. You have 844,500 followers on Twitter. Not too long ago, you had like 50,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it all started with a video you retweeted of a dolphin jumping into a paddleboarder.
Yeah. Yeah. Really and truly. It's so dumb, JJ. You know, I played ball forever at high schools, and All-American, and in college, and then the lottery pick, and played basketball in the NBA for 12 years. And I got out, and you know, I wasn't on social media. This was year 2000 or so. But my last 3 years of playing, and Aaron and Griff know this story well. I had 7 surgeries my last 3 years, and right at the end of my last game, or I had an emergency appendectomy. Doctor gave me OxyContin, and within days, I felt like I was in love. I felt smarter and nicer and kinder and gentler and all kind. And I spent the better part of 14 years battling painkiller addiction, in and out of rehab, and just a lot of ups and downs. But around 2010 or 11, I think, I got on Twitter. Jim Rome, a buddy, said, you should get on Twitter. So I did. And I think I had, just from basketball, when I got on Twitter, like within a few days, had 30 or 40,000 followers, and may have had 50 or 60 until a year or two ago. And I put out that video. I was really, you know, to do what I do now, just talk basketball, you kind of need a social media presence.
Yeah. But
I was getting so disheartened with the political climate. I wanted off. I just wanted off of social media. I was being too snarky all the time, just condescending and an asshole. And so I just happened upon that video, put out blocker charge. People thought it was kind of clever, and that's it. So really, I just started doing that, and it kind of took off. And now I'll post dog videos and feel good videos, and try to throw in a worldview from time to time that I feel strongly about, and that's it.
It. Also, you are very ahead of the curve on the Karen videos. Recently. It's like Rex's number. If someone's freaking out in a Walmart or in a Trader Joe's, Rex has it first.
I love them, and I hate them. You know, but it's just entitlement, right? And look, I've been pathetic on video before as well. So you're never as worse.
We all have.
We're never. That's right. And you're never as worse as your bad. Never as bad as your worst moment. And unless you don't try to improve, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I do feel you said it best. Twitter is a trap. Mm-hmm. It's a trap. It's so hard to go on Twitter and scroll through your timeline or your feed and not develop snarkiness.
Yeah.
And you know, being condescending and sarcasm and I mean, I've spent more time on Twitter during this pandemic in these 4 months than I did. It's
not real healthy
for the rest of the time I've ever been on Twitter combined. I mean, I've spent so much time on there, and then when you factor in the political climate, it's really hard to go on there and leave in a good mood.
Yeah, it is. It really is. You know, and I don't know. It's just,
Rex, I think you do find that you've found a balance though between the humanity posts, and
those are good.
and the Karen posts. So is it like, what's your inbox like in terms of people sending you content to put up?
It's so great and easy at this point, just because there's so many people that send good stuff. You got to kind of go through some of the crap in order to find it sometimes, but no, it's all good. The crazy part is you can post anything and somebody will have a problem with it. I don't know how you guys do it, JJ, because really, when I retired, it was 2000, and a year or so later, Stevie Nash, one of my good friends, he was back playing in Phoenix. I was working in the front office there, and he told me he had something to do. There was a game that night at the Suns Arena, and he said, "But I got to do this social media thing at 2." I was like, "What? A social media?" I said, "Man, I couldn't have done any of that if I don't know how you guys do it." I guess my question is, when I was growing up, and you probably remember, kind of pre-internet, you read about or heard about what happened in a game or practice or whatever the next day, because you in the newspaper. You guys are on Twitter, especially. You guys are getting instant feedback, instant responses from haters a lot of times.
Yeah.
And, I know it's it's easy to say, I don't listen to it. Man, that shit's got to be hard.
It's at times it's hard to avoid it. It's hard to avoid it.
JJ and I talk about this a lot with him, where the level of attention he got playing at Duke, first in high school, but then really playing at Duke, how things would have been different with Twitter and with social media, and whether he even could have withstood the heat that would have come from being the most well-known college player in the country. You had a version of that both at Kentucky, but then even in high school, where you were the cocky white guy that was just the killer. And if you had been playing in 2020 in high school, like, how mentally would you have been able to prep for that?
Johnny Manziel. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, and look, I've seen recently where he's starting to kind of, figure things out a little bit as an older person, and I'm all for that. But yeah, there was so much, so fast. And you're in a small little bubble where all they care about is Kentucky basketball. So I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, but it was different. It was definitely different. You're instantly hated in every building you go to because you're a white player. That's because you're a good white player. And at nowhere, there's nowhere like Duke for guys to go through that. I think, Christian, JJ, Wojo, Bobby, all those guys, and some of it's probably the media playing it up, and you're on TV all the fucking time. So we're not here at Kentucky.
Yeah. Okay. Tommy, it's funny. This was literally my next question for Rex. You and I are on the same page today. I was literally going to ask him about that. Rex would have been a viral sensation. Like, Rex would have been on Ball is Life and Overtime. Yeah. You would have been massive if you had been in high school now. But
that's the weird thing is it's like 15-year-olds. It's not even just college players. It's
just from
kids.
The dunking. Yeah, just from the dunking part of it, though. Yeah, probably. What's crazy is that I grew up just like everybody else. All my friends just, praying to grow at night, praying to grow, and measuring myself every day. Every other day. Oh, I'm taller. And then my best friends, two of my best friends, we were ninth graders together, and we all made the varsity team. I was 5'8". My buddy was 5'7", our point guard best friend, and our other buddy was a 3-man. They started every game our freshman year. I played freshman, JV, and varsity the whole season, never started a game. And I grew about 6 inches over that summer. And I was my sophomore year, I was kind of gangly, but starting to kind of dunk it. And then over that summer, things kind of came together athletically. But yeah, it was weird. I was lucky. JJ, you and I are probably similar height, right on. But I'm like 6. I've just got the long 6'6", 6'7" wingspan. That's it.
I've got a negative
it's
wingspan.
not jumping so much.
He does not.
I've got a negative wingspan. So thanks, Rex.
Hey,
there was never a point in my time.
You and Stevie Kerr.
There was never a point in my time in my life where I could dunk like you. I will admit that.
Well, I saw you the other day on social media. Was that 2 feet, 2 hands?
Yeah, it was 2 feet, 2 hands.
Can you 1 foot lefty right hand dunk?
A couple years ago, I could. I can only dunk off 2 feet now.
Could you ever right leg left hand?
Oh yeah. Back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a back injury my first year with the Clippers, first year with the Clippers, and I missed half the season. Had some nerve thing happen in my leg. And pretty much from that point on, I lost any semblance of bounce that I had. But
That's
so
amazing,
every year I gotta like when I have my birthday or around my birthday, I just got to make sure I can still dunk.
There you go.
So I can still dunk at 36, but this I don't know much longer. I asked you this on Twitter the other day, and you did it at 50.
I did it at 50. It wasn't what anybody would consider a good dunk. It was I sneaked it in. May have gotten my fingertips above the rim, pulled the breakaway down, landed, hurt my back. And so I decided I'm out. I haven't tried it anymore. I'm done.
What was your favorite dunk ever?
Like a dunk contest dunk or
anything, like the most memorable.
I had a good one. I had a good game dunk on Herb Williams, my rookie first or second year. And again, I sneaked a lot of people just because, a lot of NBA guys, they didn't watch a lot of college games back in the day, and they certainly didn't think that I was going to come running in and take a bounce but I tried to dunk on everybody. I really did. I used to sneak Patrick all the time. I got Herb Williams once my rookie year, really good in Dallas. I got Manute. I got Sean Bradley, Manute, and one in Oakland. I landed on the ground and he looked down at me and said, "You do that again, little boy, and I will kill you."
That's awesome.
I was just lucky, man. Just really lucky. I don't know how you do it, JJ. I was a volume shooter. I would get hot. I would get cold. I was a terrible bench player. If you needed me to come in and make, 2 out of 4 threes, I'm probably not your guy. I'm going to go 0 for 4 or make all 4 of them. So I don't know how and going from, I was never, and I didn't stay healthy long enough later on to where maybe accepting a role coming off the bench, I could have, kind of found my footing with that. But man, and I go to not only, yourself, but, Reggie Miller, he started taking a backseat to guys on his team, and just how the thing evolves. When you're able to go from a starter and a guy who started your whole college career, most of your NBA, and now to be able to, go back and forth, kudos to you, man.
I think a big part of that though was not playing really at all my first 2 years, and then sort of being a bench player there for, I guess, 4 more years or 5 more years after that. I was in Orlando for 7 years. I wasn't a full-time starter until my 8th year.
Yeah.
So I had like a 6-year stretch where I was a full-time starter. So for me, at this point, I didn't even think I'd be in my 14th year, Rex. I didn't think I'd get to this point. So for me to say a starter, I'm totally comfortable with whatever.
No, that in hindsight, that probably would have been good for me. I went to a first-year team in Charlotte. Right. We were terrible. Me, Muggsy, Dell, Stephen was born my rookie year, and he's my first little NBA buddy.
That's lived awesome.
2 doors down. But we were terrible, and I started and played, huge 35 minutes a night. But I was shooting, I think, for most of my rookie year, a lot of my rookie year, I was shooting maybe 42%, 40%. Just, I was terrible. Guys were just, I was athletic, and I would, but I think had I had to earn it, if I'd have gone to any playoff type team where maybe, they had a guy who could show me a little bit more. Me, Muggsy, and Dell, we were winging it on our own, just trying to, But no, man,
Rex, do you think that some of that though was the lack of analytics back then? Like my assumption, and I wanted to ask you about 90s basketball in general, but this is something very specific to 90s up until about 2008, 2009, where coaches and players really didn't have the access to advanced stats and analytics that we do now. And so you look back at a lot of players from your era, and you're talking about guys that were taking like 15 2-point attempts a game. These are guards.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I was not I made my money. I made my game was really, you pin down zipper for me, I'm going to get you a bucket at 15 to 17 to 19 feet. I started, as I got older, started curling out further for threes and stuff, but that was not how we played back then.
Right.
So, and we were playing with the 3-pointer. So yes, the answer is yes.
Which years was the 3-point line closer in? Was that 94, 95, 96? Do you remember?
Yeah. I want to say 94, 95, maybe something like that. Yeah, that was crazy too, because you went from, they moved the line in, whatever it was, you never took that shot. You hadn't been taking that shot in years, and so now so it just made no sense. And you had guys out there really with no business taking them, thinking they should take them. But anyway, I think that's a lot of the league now.
Yeah. With 90s, with the Last Dance, rather, with the Last Dance, I'm sure it brought back some memories of that era. I actually when I went on your Twitter profile earlier, your pinned tweet was a fight montage, a 6-minute video of a fight montage from 80s and 90s NBA. How would you describe that era? Obviously, Jordan was a dominating force, but how would you describe that era versus today?
I have a tough time with this. Fortunately, I've been around the game now for 30 or 40 years. And I think guys like yourself who played 14 years, guys like, LeBron, the guys of your generation, you'd be the best in any generation. You just would. You'd figure it out. The game you guys play is so much more. Your fundamentals are so much better. I saw you last year split a pick and roll, go in, right foot, threw up a lefty bank hook, sort of half hook and one off the glass. I would have run in and shot the ball this way. I wouldn't have leftied it. It's something we didn't practice. All of your guys' handles are way better than ours were. You think about Michael, the only dribble move you ever see Michael really doing was the one on Larry, and Larry's standing straight up, so we couldn't beat, you could beat guys off the dribble. It was a jab step game, jab step, shot fake. So the game is just changed. I love how it's played now. Yes, I get my feelings hurt from time to time thinking, knock him down, which that's what we were told to do, and that's the only way sometimes you can, get a guy off a great night is to knock him down, make him think about it. I love it. I love the game now. It was fun to play. I was built for this league today, being kind of slight and but no, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it.
Rex, I was thinking about you during the doc because I forget what episode it was in, but one of the earlier episodes, they have the LeBradford Smith moment with Michael. How much do you remember about that?
I was hurt. Teammates? I didn't play in the game, and LeBradford was crazy talented. It was never a question of his talent. It was really just how hard he was going to work. But he was crazy talented. He just got hot. He got really hot in Chicago. They beat us. We went back the next night, and And MJ did everything that they said he did. I mean, but he did that to me also. That a year or two later, we played them in Miami. I was in Miami and we beat them, and I had a big game. And the year they went 72-10, and we had like 8 players, and we beat them. They came down and partied on South Beach all night. And I know that because I was there. And so we sneaked them, we beat them. We played them at home 2 weeks later, and Michael and I had the same agent, David Falk, forever. We played golf together. We bowled together, all that stuff, all throughout the years, charity golf events, all this stuff. And we played them in our building 2 weeks later. I think I had 38 or 39 in the game, and we beat them. And they threw the ball up to jump ball up, and he cracked me right in the sternum with an elbow. And I went, oh, like got me really, really good. And I went, oh, fuck, it's going to be like that tonight. And yes, it was just like that. He got like 35 and didn't play the fourth quarter. And I went like 3 for 13 for 11 points, and we got beat by 40. And then they swept us first 3 games of the playoffs like we were a JV team. But yeah, he was amazing. The doc was amazing too.
It was. You had 39, 9 of 10 threes, including one of the threes in which you shot it and turned and ran down the court without watching it go.
Those are great,
which is just a legendary move. It's legendary.
It's a great YouTube. It's a great YouTube rewatch. You're 39 because you look really good.
It's such an asshole move, but when you feel it, you feel it.
I want to leave some time for our draft here. So I want to, before we do it though, one of my favorite NBA shots ever is from the 97 Western Conference first round. You guys are down 3 to Seattle, I think, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who was inbounding the ball?
Jason Kidd.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So Jay Kidd is inbounding the ball, and he just throws like a lob pass over to the right wing, cross court.
Yeah.
And you catch it and shoot a 3 off one leg, and it goes in. And I'm 12. I'm almost 13 when this happens.
God,
and
that's awful.
I go outside for like hours the next day.
It was like early in the morning on the East Coast, right?
Yeah. No, it was a late game for me. So I went next day. Yeah.
Yeah. We had run. We lost that game in overtime, and we had them beat, man. We were a 7 seed. They were the 2 seed. We just had their number. But we had run that play. It's kind of hard because we had KJ. The only reason the play worked because we have Jason, who's one of the greatest passers ever. But then we had KJ, and Gary was guarding me, Peyton, and we wanted to get a switch with Gary and Hersey. And so I just backpicked KJ. And so they immediately had to switch, caused a little bit of separation, a little confusion. But then I didn't think Jay was going to throw it. And I stopped. And I thought, oh shit, it's going to go out of bounds. And that's really when I thought I got to shoot it. So had it not gone in, I mean, they'd have just run me out of town.
because you stopped for a split second. That's why you had to shoot it off one leg.
Yeah,
because you hesitated.
Also, we had run that, and that I could shoot a runner like that, and just get up there, it's just getting your body square. And I lived on the runner in the paint. I really did. I made a lot of just runners and floaters and leaners, but we'd run that a few times during the season. We'd run it in practice, a handful of times. It was a special that we had. Just happened to work. Lucky, but what a pass! I mean,
it was on the money.
Fell from heaven. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna draft our all-time shooting guard list
Let's
here.
Do it.
So we're gonna end up with basically the top 15 shooting guards ever.
Okay.
I'm not gonna draft myself. So if you guys want to draft me, that's fine.
First pick.
So Rex, we just snake this. So if you got the first pick,
yeah,
it goes to the third. The third pick gets 2 picks, and then it goes back And then when he gets back to the first pick, he gets another 2 picks. Middle guy keeps 1.
I went to public school in Kentucky. You'll remind me when it's my pick.
All right. All good.
Okay.
Who wants to start?
Rex
should start.
Rex,
I think Rex should
Rex,
start.
You're up.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I got MJ.
All right. I kind of figured that would be
All
the
right.
number 1 pick.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Not much debate there. By the way, there are a few names as they come up. We'll have to debate about whether or not they're actually a shooting guard.
Yeah. That will happen. Also, I had MJ in the other day. Seems like a great guy. Going to have a really good career.
That's great. Tommy,
right.
go next.
Kobe.
Oh man.
Nicely done.
Right.
I can't wait for this next one because. Okay.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right. I think the first 2 were expected. The third, in my mind, it's obvious, but D Wade is my pick, and I think it's hard to argue with D Wade not being in the top 3 of shooting guards all time. This may shock some people, and I was really hoping I would get the 4th pick on this. Manu for me.
Oh wow! Well done. Well done. Yeah. That's
so you
that's a good
really
one.
you really think D Wade is just consensus top 3?
I'd have taken him there.
So the only other name that I think you could maybe consider there is Jerry West.
See, I can't even. I don't remember Jerry, and I don't remember Oscar, so it's really hard. That's a hard one.
And then there's a discussion because I went on I spent like an hour on Basketball Reference yesterday looking up certain guys, and for a lot of his career, Jerry was listed as a point guard. Oscar was listed as a point guard his whole career.
Yeah.
So this is going to be part of the debate because for my second pick,
Harden.
No.
Yeah. Oh,
AI.
Okay,
that's a good one too. He's right there for me.
I would put him. I mean, championships aside, I think that pound for pound, he has an argument for the top 3.
All right. Yeah.
Bubba Chuck. I think AI was definitely an off-ball player. He's a shooting guard for sure.
Me too. And I love him. I absolutely love him. Had him in Denver. What a fun dude. Love to play. All right. I'm gonna take a shot here. Ready? Klay Thompson.
Whew. Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting.
I love me some Klay, man. Guards both ends. Plays both ends. Shoots the shit out of it. Got a perfect demeanor. Doesn't give a fuck. I love him, and he's big enough. Current modern day guy. I love the pick. I didn't think Klay was going to go this high. I had him a little lower on my board, and I would have liked to have ended up with him. He is one of my favorite current players, absolutely. And everything you said about him is so true. His balance, JJ.
But he's also just the ultimate. He's a competitor, man.
Yes.
Low maintenance. I'm going to go out. I'm going to bust your ass on both ends. He's unbelievable. Yeah. All right, Rex, you get one more pick.
Okay. Here we go. I'm going to go, man. This came down to 2 guys for me. I'm going to go right here with Reggie.
It's hard to argue that.
And look, Reggie, I hated playing against Reggie early on. We didn't really like each other very much. And over the years, I you know what Reggie taught me, JJ? I was a young player. He's, I think, a year ahead of me, but about 3 years older. So he was busting my ass in Indiana, one of my first years. And he'd make a shot, and I'd be so fucking discouraged. I'd shaking my head and all that. And all of a sudden I made one on him on the other end, and he just took off running like, yep, that happens. Like he didn't give me any life, as an offensive player. He was like, he didn't say good shot. He almost like, yeah, I'll let you have one. Kept running, So you learn a lot from these guys you play against, and you don't like to admit that at the time, but you do.
You know what I learned from Reggie, just watching him? how to play as an offensive player, how to play off the ball with your hands.
Yeah. It's an arm wrestling match. Yeah.
But it's not blatant. It's like you use the defensive momentum against him, and he's going this way, and you give him a little nudge, and all of a sudden you got 4 feet of separation.
People don't understand how much grabbing there is, though, that's going on. You got to get your hands up. Don't you know all that? Hey,
but then you get a quick tug. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right. So
I have a question before we get to my next pick for the two of you. Can you clarify for the audience why Stephen is not on this list?
Who?
Like Curry.
He's a point guard.
He is a point guard.
But is he just by definition a point guard? Because he does play off the ball sometimes.
He's the primary ball handler for his whole career.
So it's just primary. If you're the primary ball handler your whole career, because this is why I'm wondering.
Also, but I can see this question because he is a bit of a 2 in my mind. Also, he's just he's a 1 though. He's a 1.
Because
I don't know why.
my next pick is going to be James Harden, but Harden has the ball in his hands the whole time.
All right.
It's hard to argue, or it's hard to argue for Harden being a 2 guard right now. I think he's the primary ball handler.
Yeah.
He's more of a point guard right now than he is a shooting guard.
And maybe if he guarded 2s, I'd give him that. But he guards 4s and 5s.
Yeah. Their entire team guards 4s and 5s.
We're in the 3rd round, Rex. It can't be all perfect.
So listen, I
love James.
I think for the purpose of this, I'm going to let this go. He's a shooting guard for the purpose of this. But their team is really true. But their team it's really hard to sort of categorize them by position on that team because they just don't fit any traditional mold.
Very true. Very true.
All right. I got 2 here, and I'm glad I ended up in this position. Because I get somehow with my the 9th and 10th picks, I get number 5 and number 6 on my board. And I'm going to take Ray Allen and Clyde Drexler.
Very good. Yeah.
I wanted Ray. I should have taken Ray 3rd.
So Ray and Reggie, to me, I mean, they're similar in a lot of ways in terms of their career. If you look at their advanced numbers, Ray obviously won 2 championships.
Yep.
So he's got that. Clyde probably hit his prime at the wrong time, which was, Bad Boy Pistons. And then when they made the finals in 91 or 92, he's going up against Jordan. But Clyde was of that era right below Jordan in terms of two-way. Would you agree with me, Rex? For two-way guards?
Yeah, except Clyde didn't. He picked and chose.
Yeah,
and he just did nights that he would play. He would just cruise some nights when he didn't feel like he needed to really. So I'm with you on that. But physically, also, he's people don't understand how strong and big and long Michael is and was. Clyde was 6'7". He was taller and he had the same big hands and all that. He really didn't have that just killer that MJ had all the time. So, but again, he was a handful all the time and he could do everything.
Rex, did you play against Sidney Moncrief?
Yeah.
You did. It was later in his career though, right?
Yeah. We probably overlapped 3 years, 2 or 3 years.
Because in the mid 80s at this position, he was a monster.
He was. And the thing about Sidney though, Sidney 6'3", but long, really long, kind of built like Michael Cooper, just, wiry. Yeah. Sidney was really good.
All right, Tommy.
Who's up? I'm up. My 4th. I'm amazed this lasted this long. I'm going Jerry West.
Who?
Jerry West.
Okay. All right.
I feel like he has to go in the top 15. It's crazy not to.
He probably would if I'd seen him play. I can't. I
definitely haven't seen him play. Just every single metric, everything like that. He's got to be there.
All right. Is it my turn?
Yeah, you got 2. This is your last 2 picks.
2. All right, here we go. Joe Dumars.
Oof.
And jeez. All right. And Glen Rice.
Ooh.
Okay, this is where I'm going to debate you on this one. Not because Glen Rice didn't have a flamethrower, but was Glen Rice a shooting guard?
6'8", baby. And a day where you could post up. That's why I'm giving it based on guys I played against at this point.
So you had to guard
Glen Rice.
You guarded Glenn. That was your position that you guarded. Yeah. Okay, then absolutely.
Yeah. He was a 2, man, for most of his career until later on. He was a spot up kind of 3, 4. But
gotcha. Was he more of a challenge than Mitch Richmond?
Very similar. And Mitch is right there with Mitch and I came out same year. He was two years ahead. He was at K-State. He was a bitch. Mitch, but again, not as big as like Glenn. Mitch 6'4", 6'5", but his nickname's Rock, and man, he could really go. And he was just dirty. You know who else was dirty? Was Ricky Pierce. Ricky Pierce. Oh my God, that dude tormented me a few nights.
Yeah. Ricky Pierce was the Jamal Crawford of that era.
Yeah.
He was a 6-man. He made all-star teams. He averaged 25 a game some years. He was tough.
He was amazing. Yeah.
All right, Tommy, 5th pick for you.
Yeah, I got a weird one. I don't think you guys are going to like it. Rex, this is the thing. This has been the least controversial draft we've had.
That's all right.
Pistol Pete.
Oh,
Maravich.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think that's controversial.
44.2 points per game.
I do, but that's not in the NBA.
No, but still, the guys. It's Pistol Pete. I think he's another one. He's just got to be He's got to be on this list.
Why? No, and not at all time. I love him. I love the guy, but. Right. No,
one agreement,
Glen Rice all day.
I get into this debate all the time whenever I talk to my peers or even coaches in the NBA, where we talk about these sort of all-time rankings by position or by team. And to me, I feel like there's a separator between modern NBA and sort of the old world NBA, and the separator is Magic and Larry. The separator is like right around 1980. It's like there's that era, and then there's pre-1980, pre-Magic and Larry. And a lot of it has to do with the number of teams, just frankly. I mean, the ABA, I think, the ABA NBA merger was 76, 77. You're bringing in these teams. And there was another expansion in the early 80s. Then you talked about you were on the very first Charlotte Hornets team. So there's another expansion. There's another expansion in the 90s. So it's hard to, you're almost comparing apples and oranges. It's hard.
You really are.
And the game has evolved too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, my 5th pick. Whew.
What you got?
Man. Well, so this is my question. Is Vince and T-Mac?
No, he's
Vince
a 3.
and T-Mac?
They're both 3s. Sorry. They're both 3s. I don't George Gervin, I'd already had him too. No, they're 3s. To me.
Okay. All right. So those were the 3 guys that I had questions about. All right. I'm gonna go with the last pick. I'm gonna go Mitch Richmond then.
Yeah, that's solid, man. It really is. And think about that. I'll say this, the Rockets won those 2 titles when Michael was away. They'd have never beat him. They'd have never beat them. I know there's, people think that there was a huge difference between those Bulls teams and that Rockets team. And I love Chuck and I love Kenny and all those guys, but they weren't beaten. They were not beating MJ and them. You saw how Michael felt about Clyde, and they were never going to beat them.
Yeah.
And Clyde, during those years, Clyde was right at that moment. He was just starting to kind of decline.
Yeah.
So anyway,
who are the young guys?
I was going to ask that,
now. Tatum, Beal, like who are the guys who are like maybe 5 years from now are on this list?
The 2s now.
Yeah. Tatum is the 3.
Tatum's a 3, right?
Tatum's a 3. I would put Jaylen Brown as a 2 on that team versus Tatum.
Really?
Yeah. When I think, because when I think about a 3 right now, like the best 3s, they're not the primary ball handlers necessarily, but they're the secondary shot creators.
Yeah,
and that the majority of those guys, and Tatum kind of fills that role more so than Jaylen, although Jaylen is a stud as well. I think it's Bradley Beal, Devin Booker.
Yeah, very good. Devin's really good.
He's tough, man.
He's so good, man. And he's getting better with Monty. I need to say this before we go. I've had ups and downs in life, and there's been so many people who've helped me in the league and college, from Danny Ainge to Robert Sarver, James Jones, Griff, Aaron Nelson, there, friends of mine throughout who were there for me when they didn't have to be. And for those people, I owe a great debt of gratitude. A lot of people who you wouldn't know their names, but I'm just very appreciative. I'm happy to finally do this with you, JJ. Well, let's do this again, man.
For sure. Rex, I appreciate the time, man. And thank you for saying that. Your story is incredible. And keep being a light for this world, man. You're awesome. So we really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, bro.
All right.
Good to see you guys.